It's embarrassing how every year we experience severe rains and severe floods, and we still don't seem to be better prepared for it.
The people themselves, they know that they have government officials that are not ready to help. They know that most of them don't know survival swimming. Most of them don't know anything about water safety. They know that they are on their own. But yet, when you ask someone to do a swimming class, they tell you, hey, I'm in the hustle. Like, oh, I don't have time for that. Now, how do we get people to go from that mentality that you talked about, where it's all reactive, which is why it's called, it's none of your business until it becomes your business, because you're waiting until it affects you for you to do something. But how do we
Right.
get people to go from that mentality of saying, hey, it's none of my business until it becomes my business, to I want to prevent this, not just for me, but for my children and my generations to come? How do we do that?
Man, I think it's tough right now because the biggest reaction is going to come from the damages, and I think that's an African path of solution. Sadly, we don't know we have to build a stronger house until the house falls apart, you know? And I think it's tough because talk about it, nobody cares. Truly, you can speak about it, you can campaign, you can say what you want, and no one's going to follow through. But then when the effects happen, when the rains come and the floods do happen, then it's like, wait a second, we need to implement better systems. Hit the red button and say, listen, man, the reason we need to be better equipped with more practices in water safety is look at what happens. People die.
Mhm.
You know, those are the hard, that's the hard facts, that's the hard truth, that's the reality. And, you know, that sometimes gets the point across better than wishful thinking. The real deal.
I think that the African generosity is still existent, even though it's dying little by little. I have seen Africans show up without getting paid. I would think that that's more of a Western mentality where the people get paid for most of the things that they do. Because I see Africans showing up for each other, but my problem is that you're showing up a little bit too late, because now, before the action happens, before the disaster happens, we can show up and clean up our drainages. We could show up and try to do something to protect the environment so that the flooding that is supposed to be knee level would not be shoulder level. So we could already start thinking as Africans, what can we do now so that we don't just have to be reactive? What can we do now so that things will get a little bit easier on us? Because we know that there is nothing in place basically. Because while I saw that the Navy in Ghana were going out to help, in Nigeria, I didn't see that anybody was going out to help apart from the people on their own
Wow.
helping each other.
Why am I going to waste my time waiting for support that's not going to come? You know, and I think the gap between government and community is so wide and so vast. A lot of people are realizing, wait a second, nobody's coming to save me. So I'm going to operate on my time, doing it my way.
Yeah,
Um,
but
and then
when they
also, true, it's
realize
just,
nobody's going to save them,
there's,
there should be like an emergency button in their head going off and saying, I got to do something to save myself. And when someone offers you the opportunity and you still don't want to take it because you still want to depend on a government that is not there for you, then maybe something is wrong. Part of the reason why we're doing this is because we want to call people's attention to the fact that they actually can do something for themselves. All hope is not lost. 90% of the natural disasters that happen in the world happen and are related to water. So it's always going to be a fit. Do you know how to swim? Can you do survival swimming? Could you last long enough until help comes? So it's very important that our people learn that. And when they learn that, perhaps things are going to change for the better. When people organize, because that's our solution from swimming one day. Organize, clean the drainages, organize, try to stop harming the environment. Do something for yourself. Make sure that you learn water safety and survival swimming. That's what we're all about. And we're saying, could this be an act of self-defense? Do you think that when Africans change their mindset and start thinking, no one is watching out for me, I want to watch out for myself, do you think that that is a solution?
Because again, it's crazy for me to recognize in this Western world is that learning how to swim is a privilege that some people don't have. But then at the same breath, you look at our coastal communities in Africa and you've got people living in poverty who live by the ocean. All of them can swim. Little kids jumping in the ocean and swimming. There's a disconnect between the privilege of Muslim and where your class is, because you can't at the same time say swimming is a privilege and a luxury when you have people who are living in poverty that can swim and hold their breath for like minutes, man. It's nuts.
Yeah. And that's a reality that we have in Africa because we have the two extremes. So while we have the people that are so terrified about water, we have the people in the riverine areas that are really that good. And that brings me to the beautiful story about your water polo team members
Yeah.
getting in and working as a rescue team, saving the community. How wonderful and how proud you must be, because I'm
Yeah.
listening to that story and I'm thinking, wow, this is a community that maybe a few years ago they didn't think they could ever do that. And now they've become so
Correct.
self-confident that nobody
Correct.
told them. They swung into action on their own. And this is the power of a
Correct.
swimming lesson, of making sure that people get access when people are denied access. So,
Resources and opportunity are the backbone of what can shift Africa to the superpower that it is. The biggest success in my organization has been working with schools, working with community collaboration, because sure, a family might not be able to send their kid to the pool, but the school can provide resources for a swim day. They can put the kids on a bus to go to the pool village and get them their first day of water safety. Well, they didn't realize that these skills could put them on a path to be recognized around the world, or put them on a path to be able to save somebody's life.